everyone. Before we get started with the episode, I'd like to take a moment to talk about what you can expect to see in this session and relay appropriate content warnings. In this upcoming scene with Ray, there will be an NPC who frequently drinks alcohol as a coping mechanism. There is no heavy drinking, but it is apparent and brought directly to the NPC's attention. If this is a topic you do not wish to view or do not feel comfortable watching, I would suggest skipping this developmental scene. We at Sword and Key value your health and want you to take whatever steps necessary to protect yourself. And if you or a loved one suffer from substance abuse or addiction, it's okay to ask for help, and we have linked some resources in the video description. Hello everybody, and welcome to a special development scene, this time with Ray and Victor. Before we get started, I just want everyone to know that this scene takes place between episodes 9 and 10 of the main campaign, when the players are still catching up when they went back in time by accident. Because remember, they stayed and decided to catch up 3 months. I am Mare. I use they, she pronouns, and I am your game master in this game of Fraying Threads and Visible Sun campaign by Monty Cook Games. Victor, Ray. Wow, I'm tired. Please.
Hi, I'm Victor
There,
Ray.
thank you.
Ray Victor.
Perfect.
Your player for today. And player always. No, not actually. And Ray is a bizarre ardent of the Order of Goetica who disgorges creatures. Which means that we might run into some body horror stuff. I doubt it.
I don't think it's gonna happen today.
No,
Definitely next session.
Body yay.
Definitely next session, but yeah. like Victor already said, we have content warnings. We don't think they're going to be applicable to this session, but just in case, Invisible Sun has mature themes throughout its general content on the day-to-day, but our game has manipulation and body horror, but this is probably going to be a little more lighthearted than past sessions have been. Definitely more than the Aspen scene, so I don't know.
There might be mention of substance use and abuse.
Thank you for the reminder.
But otherwise, me and Mara, we're gonna riff. It's gonna be great.
I love riffing. It's great. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes, dear.
Okay. So, the card I have pulled for this game is the Angel. A value of 7 notions, cats, clocks, and winds, meanings judgment, safety, assistance, lights, and justice. No greater representation of goodness, light, or justice exists than the winged form of an angel from on high, left behind as part of the legacy. They attempt to aid, to teach, and to protect. However, some angels also pass judgment. Their vengeance can be terrible to behold, their anger something no mortal ever wishes to experience. Thus, the angel represents both the open palm of altruism and the terrible fist of retribution. The angel is the defender of notions. Its light ensures that they are kept safe. This is the defender card, so it means Ardents have a +2 to their ventures, which works out. And as always, the cards fucking know. Like,
it is very fitting.
Like, it's so... I think I've rarely had a card that did not fit a situation.
Oh, yeah.
But yes.
I love pulling.
Speaking of angels and summoned entities, we have just finished a ceremony. A ceremony of advancement from Ray to the 2nd to the 3rd degree Goetics. A lot of people were very confused because you actually just advanced to the 2nd degree. And now all of a sudden, like a week or two later, you're advancing to the 3rd degree. So you got some weird looks, but also you did what you had to do and you're showing off the skills to do so. But some people are sus.
Those people have obviously not seen Ray sleeping in the library. Sleeping in the records hall, jotting down stuff, doing his research.
It's like, it's almost as if Ray were in 2 places at once.
Oh, yes.
Weird, huh?
That'd be foolish.
No. Not like modalities exist or anything.
I definitely think that whatever the 5th order thing was that I summoned was definitely from the Gray Sun. which is now we also have a new friend.
Yes, something that we sadly forgot about when you advanced to the second degree. But yeah, do you want to tell us a little bit about your little familiar friend, which has finally made their
Yes.
appearance?
Yes, my little familiar friend is it's like a wisp in the air. Um, it is. I have a cool description that Mare gave me that is beneath me just being like, "You're so cool and awesome."
You can do it. I have
It's a
faith in you.
wispy gray form that swims around my head. Has a vague shape of an aquatic creature. I wonder which one.
I don't know.
It's a shark, guys. It's like a cool, ghosty illusion shark.
Did you want to name it, or did you want me to name it?
Ooh. Um, I would like to come up with a pun name,
Okay. Will
though I
be
don't have one off the top of my head right now.
okay. Will be introduced later.
The
Reintroduced
gray
later with a
white,
name.
no, that's too long for.
It could be
I
like
was
a
like the gray
title.
white shark.
Could be a title later. But yes,
Yeah,
when you have figured out a great pun name, please feel free to blurt it out, whether it's this session or next.
gotcha.
But yes, after your closed formal ceremony, which I'm assuming was in front of Adastrea, one of the very few goetics that you know in the
Yeah.
order. Well, at least on a very personal basis. A lot of
Oh
people know
yeah.
each other. She and you leave the summoning room with its already inlaid summoning circle, and she has already presented to you this little gem that you add to your goetic badge, and you both leave, in heading out into the rest of the Goetic Hall of Records. Congratulations, Ray. I was very surprised that you are already ready to advance to third degree.
Oh, all this research for Songbird and trying to fix everything, I ended up working a lot harder than I thought I did. And then I was just like, oh, I need to like the faster I go through this, I think the better I will be able to figure out the summoning stuff.
Well, all that hard work paid off. Once again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you have any plans to celebrate other than just, yippee, congratulations, here's a little badge?
Uh, no, I've been sort of focusing on a project that I've gotten like sort of drawn into. And I forgot that I could celebrate this.
Have you taken any rests at all since you've started working?
Do you count doing art as rest?
It depends. Are you doing it just for fun or is it work?
This I haven't rested in a while.
How about you take a break tonight? And you can say no, but I am going to a party tonight and I don't have a +1. If you would like to join me.
Yeah, is it like a fancy party?
It is in the Marquis Quarter, yes.
You sort of saw my fanciest clothes at the exhibition, and you might have noticed that I don't have fancy clothes.
Can
I
you
can probably go get some. I have a fair amount of change.
can you remind me of what you wore at your gallery? Because I can't
Uh,
remember what you wore or how
a
fancy
set
it
of
was.
fancy overalls
Okay.
and a button-up shirt.
She stands there, crossing her arms and just thinking for a moment. Well, the Marquis Quarter has plenty of shops if you'd like to go and maybe try something on there. It ain't for another couple hours. Unlike the advancement to second degree, the advancement to third degree was much quicker, so we have plenty of time to spare. It's only she looks around and then looks over at the clock tower for the Goetic Hall of Records. It's still barely 2 o'clock.
All right. I mean, I've got quite an amount of crystal orbs, and I do have a rather generous patron, who bought something from me, for a rather generous amount. So I think I could afford something in the Marquee Quarter.
It is living in my living room right now.
It's a great place for it.
It is watching over the large expanse of the city. Do you need to stop anywhere, or should we head right to the Marquee Quarter?
No, I mean, I have my wallet, and if you wouldn't mind being my guide to fancy clothes.
Of course, I do need to stop by back at my place later so I can change, but it should be easy enough to find something that could be custom tailored to your form.
Good. It's a pretty big form. And Ray pats his belly.
You'd be surprised what can be conjured instantaneously.
I hope so. Weavers are rather impressive. So are makers.
But all just spellcasters, Vizsla in general, it ain't just the makers and the weavers that create clothes.
True. I'm a Goetic and I create fantastic art.
There are some very wonderful zealots that make amazing food and clothes. You would know a zealot as a type of person. They aren't Vizsla, but they are a type of magical person who has an innate ability to cast a very specific type of spell.
Ooh. I need to go shopping more often. I don't even think about these things. Too busy.
So we can head right to the train station. Hollows first, then to the train station, and then we can get ready.
Yeah, of course. Ooh, maybe we can pass by some of my work that I've been doing.
Oh, sure. I would love to see it.
All right.
And you head off.
Mm.
You, of course, have to head through the rest of Fartown. She doesn't live here, so she doesn't live in Fartown, so she does know the way back and forth very easily. And she leads the way through Fartown to the gate to the Hollows. And once again, as always, when you pass through this gate, you feel split second something staring at you before it looks away and you keep going.
Mm-hmm.
What
is this different from certain other watching?
Yes, it is. It is different, yes.
Okay.
It is very different.
Gotcha.
It's like to explain to everyone else, the players have been feeling watched in this 12 weeks of downtime. But yes, the difference is when you've been feeling over in the downtime is very intense, highly studying you, like stakeout watching type staring, mm-hmm. And the other one's just like looking at you. Oh, nothing interesting. They turn away.
Cool.
Yeah, but that's normal. That's been happening ever since the first time you walked from the Hollows to the Fartown and vice versa.
Gotcha.
What is it you wanted to show me? Is it not back at your house?
Well, no. I've been trying to get some artistic space from the house. And I think as they walk through the Hollows, you said the shelter is like right nearby the gate, right?
I don't remember how far it is, but it's not a major detour, we'll say.
Yeah. So Ray, like while walking ahead, just sort of like notes that with the scent and the folks who live here, it can be difficult.
It can be
to
dreary.
Sort of be. Yeah. So I've been helping people. I've been, anyone who's cracked, I've been making fill-ins and then sort of adding designs and everything to make them feel better and cleaning up a little bit around the shelter where I've been trying to recenter myself.
Orleans shelter, right?
Yeah.
I would love to see it. I can't say that I've ever stuck around the Hollows, but I'm glad you're doing very good here.
Yeah. Feel like people might feel lonely here, and I know something about that.
She nods, a little more solemn as you say that. Yes, a lot of people often feel like they're at their wits' end when they end up here. So,
Yeah, it's nice to find a little bit of beauty, even if it doesn't smell the best.
that's what flowers are for.
Exactly.
Yes, show me,
Um,
show me.
I think as they walk through, Ray takes this like a super small detour, to where he has had, this makeshift furnace, and this like semi-broken like pottery wheel that he's been using. And I think he greets people, and
I will say,
yes.
it Orlean, if you since you've been sticking around and helping out, was able
um
to fix your wheel and get you a
Hey,
not completely fixed furnace, but definitely better than what you were using.
perfect, because I feel like he was using like an open oil can that he has been like covering with like a pot lid to fire
Oh
stuff.
no.
You listen,
You got to work with what you have.
Saturnine boys make do.
Shark boys make do.
Dark boys make do. But yeah, like then I think he's excited to like show like then that change like, oh well, I started out doing this, and then Orleans helped out too because it's been nicer, and now I have this, and if anyone walks by that he's helped, he's just like, oh, and they asked for this lovely sort of golden design, almost like there's like a specific art back in Shadow that is about adding gold to cracks to sort of
Oh,
beautify the way that we come back together, because
that's lovely.
healing.
As you point out to that person, like that you filled in with like kind of like goldish cracks, uh,
Hmm.
it is of one hollow folk walking with another hollow folk that you've painted like flowers and stuff on, which is the one that asked you to do that for a date.
Yes.
They got their date.
Yes, and I think Ray is like, Ray suddenly gets distracted, and he's just like, oh,
What?
that
What?
they had romantic notions. Then with the flowers actually asked for that detail for a date. I
They're,
think,
they're lovely.
yeah, it's a little joy.
And she just smiles, just like tenderly, as
Mhm.
she's following your gaze to watch these hollow folk walk down the street in what is otherwise a very drab, dreary, and stinky neighborhood.
um, Ray smiles and is just like, it's not. I know it can't fix it, but giving people something to be excited about, it's worth it, you know? Of
It is. Thank you for showing me this, Ray.
course. I think that it would be cool if more hollow people could maybe even be, maybe they could even be models for more art, if they wanted to. Like,
Like a
maybe it could bring attention to the hollows to have people do a whole exhibition of hollowed people that might
kind,
enjoy showing off the artistry.
kind of like a blank canvas.
Yeah.
She has a little clutch purse, which she does open and takes out a like small like little moleskin notebook and like jots something down in it. Um, shall we get going?
Yes. We gotta get something to cover all of this. And Ray does like a joking, like little flex.
That'll be simple enough. Uh, and she begins making her way over to the train station. Have you ever been to the Marquis Quarter before?
Not for more than a brief moment. No.
It is quite. If you haven't been there before, it can be quite overwhelming. So just keep an eye out. Don't try not to get distracted by all the shiny things.
But
They like to show their wealth out over there.
understood.
And the two of you begin to head your way to the Marquis Quarter, taking the Saturnine rail through the ruined expanses, taking, as always, these sharp turns and loop-de-loops that you don't feel within the car. And as you get closer to the Marquis Quarter, you see a lot of bright lights, a lot of elegant chandeliers hanging in midair in the middle of the street, beautiful sculptures of many different materials, whether that is porcelain, marble, or plants. You also see the dagger-like structure hanging in the sky over the Marquis Quarter, where the Deathless Triumvirate, the folks who rule over Saturnine, do their business. And eventually, the train stops, and you are let off in a very fancy train station where the rails are gold, or at least they look like gold. Who knows if they actually are? It can be conjured from anything, but it looks fancy, gilded, silver and gold with crystals. Unnecessarily so.
Yeah. I think Ray even comments about it. Is like, gold is a good conductor, but it's definitely not hard enough for the. No, don't get distracted. You got told not to get distracted.
You, you can gawk if you'd like. Do you have any type of preference on type of clothing or what kind of vibe? Do you want to go very fancy? Do you want to go practical? Do you want to completely go out there?
Would it be silly to match you?
If you would like to, I was thinking of wearing my butterfly dress tonight. Like actual butterflies.
Ooh. You do moths.
She smiles. That sounds lovely. Do you have any type of specific moth in mind? I have a place I think that would be perfect to get this done.
I remember there was one that represented the moon.
Luna moths?
Yes, there you go.
I'm making a note in my thing of the clothing store in the Marquis Quarter. She nods. All right. How far is it? I think we're within walking distance. I don't think we need to take a cab.
All right.
And she begins to walk through the streets of the Marquis Quarter, where you see so many people who have used the changeries. You do not see an average-looking human or creature very rarely. And if you do, they're most likely thought forms, as they are just sweeping the street, keeping everything clean, changing out the lights in the street lamps, just to prep them for the evening.
Mm-hmm.
There are folks made out of water, more than one that have modified their body of another animal, similar to you, but different. Definitely at least one large cat, and many wings, actually. A lot of feathery wings and dragonfly wings similar to Adastrea's own. As if there's trends. You know, what is the body but if a way to show fashion?
Mhm. I mean, Ray spent his own time in the changeries, but he's pretty satisfied with what he looks like now. Um, and I think potentially with and please tell me if this is okay, Mayor. Potentially with a little bit of a like playful flirtation, Ray would say to Adastrea, all these different forms. You definitely look like one of the best, though.
Thank you, Ray. I appreciate your compliments. Um, I believe it's right up on the corner right here. You
Or
pass a couple other stores, one of which is called Nosh, Nache, which have a lot of mannequins in the windows, like a disturbing amount of mannequins, modeling hats and scarves and other types of accessories.
I'm just picturing like a wall of mannequins, like just sort of like from like legless like torso stump like onwards upwards so you can't see in the store.
If you peer in the windows a little more, you would also see mannequins assisting customers.
Awful. That is my horror story. The first episode of New Doctor Who fucked me up for a long time,
Oh
actually.
no.
Yeah, that is Rose finding out the mannequins all
Oh,
messing
that's right. I
people up.
remember this episode.
Yeah.
If Adastrea sees you looking, she'll incline her head at Nosh. This came up not too long ago. It is owned by a maker by the name of, oh god, what was his name? I am blanking. But it is owned by a lovely maker who bought the storefronts not too long ago.
Ooh, a lot of
Carousel.
movement.
That's his name.
Mm,
I think you two would get along.
I would love to meet them then.
Very jovial.
Good.
But yes, this is the store right here. And she walks up to a store which, in sparkling crystal, says Glasshopper.
Ah, that's great.
Yes, right. She opens the door for you. After you.
Thank you. And Ray steps in and sort of is like almost excited to look around.
There aren't actually a lot of people in here. There's like one or two being assisted by tailors already. But Adastrea walks towards the back and dings a little bell. And not too long, a taller than Adastrea, but much shorter than you, individual who is made out of glass, like fractured glass, like all these facets shining a bunch of different colors and reflecting light everywhere. And she looks at them and inclines her head. Haven, I'd like you to meet my friend Ray, who is looking for an outfit for a party over here in the Mucky Quarter tonight. And he looks at you up and down. What are you looking for?
Something to match my friend. Moth themed, lunar moth.
You bought the butterflies from the store down the road, right? Sorry, wrong accent. But he's asking her.
Yes.
Yes. And then Haven looks back at you. Do you want it to be themed, or do you want it to be made of moths? There's a big difference.
Yes. And Ray looks at Astrea and is just like, think themed with like big or?
Do you think you'd be able to handle the tickly little antennae and feet of moths?
No, I would laugh the entire evening.
Haven nods. Themed it is. So, lime greenish. Maybe a long cape. Pants, skirt,
Um,
dress.
skirt.
Oh, skirt it is. Button down, jacket, or just straight up cape to mirror the wings.
Just a cape. I think that would be fun.
Have a little bit of brownish red trim, maybe a little bit of yellow and white. He nods. Yes. Yes, I think this would work very well. Need it in, I'm assuming you need it in an hour, a couple hours for the party. And just
Yes.
Adastra nods with you.
Oh.
All right, let me just get some measurements and you can stop by, get dressed here, and we'll do any last minute tailoring for you.
All right. And thank you so much for the speediness of this. And I think of Ray's 2 mage coins. He he puts one down.
I think that should be more than enough. Cross my fingers.
Yeah, but like there's like speed and
It's
everything.
speed, and also I'm pretty sure it's worth it enough because that's
Okay.
on a completely different caliber than spending crystal.
Perfect.
And especially mage coins are usually spent for like magical items that have magical effects. This, while very fancy, is technically doesn't have any magical mechanics, so it's probably more than enough.
Okay.
His eyes actually widen a little bit.
Ray's overly generous anyway.
That is very true. His eyes widen, nods. I'll have it ready in about an hour.
Okay.
Pocket that mage coin. Put that away. Oh, any accessories?
Ooh. Do you do crowns? Like a grass crown, like with the antennae?
I don't do crowns, but I do know someone who can.
That.
Very well. It shall be done.
Fantastic. Oh, one last thing.
Yes.
Can you do like the cape attached like a grand like to a ring? Like to 2 rings?
That will make a wonderful, bold statement.
Yes.
Yes, that is easy. Done.
Fantastic.
And he actually leaves and starts getting to work. Grabbing reams of cloth that you can see he left the back door open. So you can see him walking around like starting to grab material.
Ray sort of beams at Adisteria and is just like, all right, you have to get ready. I could honestly just wander around the Marquee Quarter. Do you need help getting ready?
If you don't want to wander, you are more than welcome to stay at my place while I get dressed and put on makeup and do my hair.
I wouldn't mind checking up on the statue.
Sure. This we will need to take a cab for.
All right.
And leaving the shop, she hails a cab, which is a hot air balloon made of.
Perfect.
It is just a hot air balloon made out of more sparkling crystal because Marquians don't have no chill
I love it.
at all. This thing should not be able to float. And yet.
We can make it look good and shove enough magic into it.
It'll work.
It'll work.
Pure magical Vizsla audacity. It's literally just this entire game. She hails this cab for you, and you head maybe like a 10-minute ride where it's a very tall apartment building. She kind of just, It's one of those very fancy buildings where there is like a guard out front and will definitely stop people they don't recognize. Which they almost do, but then they see Adastrea give her a nod, and then she continues to the elevator. This beautiful tiled black and white floor, and lots of chrome here. So very reflective surfaces that you can see yourself everywhere. And you go to not the top floor, but definitely above the halfway point. And she will.
Gotcha.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I said gotcha. Ray would make a small joke as they head up. It's just like, it's all the reflective surfaces here. I might know how my friend felt when he had his ego curse.
Did they get that removed?
Oh, yes. Thankfully.
Good. I have had a couple acquaintances be cursed with that, and they were quite distressed. Actually, one of them enjoyed it, which was quite concerning.
Yeah, I don't know how I'd feel about that. I don't think I would like it.
I've heard of the curse, that spell specifically, and a lot of vindictive people learn it.
Hmm. I'd never heard of it until now.
Let me just say, a lot of people make their money casting that type of magic. Oh, and removing it.
Mhm.
Oh, we're here.
Gotcha.
She leads you down the hallway. There's only like 4 doors on this floor.
It's a big floor.
It's a big floor. And she opens the door into, in comparison to what you've seen so far in the Marquis Quarter, like a casual high class. So very much like she has a lot of neutrals and like a lot of silver. Her living room is, along with your piece, there's several other pieces made not by you, both paintings and sculptures alike. A very large kitchen, which has a concerning amount of takeout boxes in the garbage. But other than that, not very well, not a lot of coziness in terms of like blankets, complete opposite of your place.
Yeah.
Oh, a lot of takeout boxes and alcohol bottles. I should have mentioned that.
Ray sort of looks about and just grins, and he's just like, um, anything I should know about?
Nothing's cursed, so you don't have to worry about that.
Good. William is William. Um,
But feel free to make yourself at home. Help yourself to anything in the pantry or the fridge or the cabinets. There's some snacks in here. Not a lot, but there's some. I think I have some drinks, both of the alcoholic and non-alcoholic variety. Just don't break anything, but you're more than welcome to browse.
all right. Are you hungry?
Not yet. I might have something before we go.
Understood.
And if you need a bathroom, first door on the left.
You got it.
And she will head to a door at the far end of the hallway and enter.
Cool. Ray is going to see if there's any cleaning he can do in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And kind of take a look at stuff that he could potentially make while she's getting ready as a little treat. Since she seems like she doesn't get some home cooking done a lot.
She does not. Oh, okay. It's a little sparse. There's not a lot of meat you would need to cook or fresh vegetables.
Uh-huh.
However, it does look like she does subsist on snacking on like cheese and crackers and homemade charcuterie boards. Um,
Oh, darling.
as for cleaning, uh, there are a haphazard of bottles. Just they're not like dirty or anything, but they haven't been put in a bag to like be taken out yet.
Mhm.
There's like no food left out, but everything has been like rinsed for like takeout containers. Just has not been taken to the next step to dispose of yet.
Oh yeah, and I think that's what Ray starts doing, just sort of like, rummaging through, getting bags, and start putting like stuff like because it's nice to like clean. It's nice to have like a clean counter.
It is.
Like I like when I was like, this is for the audience. When I was like feeling at my worst, right? Like even clearing off a table, sort of like gave me the energy to like, okay, maybe now I can actually like swallow
Focus.
food and not feel like
Yeah.
like it's awful. I have a lot of food is dirt days, and those are only compounded when I feel bad, and it's just like, oh.
It's just a
So I
little
think,
bit of control to a little bit of control.
yeah,
I get that.
yeah, it's just like if I can control this small space, maybe I can eat a food in the small space and feel better. And just like, oh, hey. And I think that's what's sort of motivating Ray. And also like I guess he's kind of being nosy. He knows he's being nosy, which is very like it's very like I don't know if this is okay. I don't know where friendship is at if this is okay.
Where?
But he
What are
wants to
you
know
looking
about the
for?
he wants to know how many bottles he's actually putting away. Because they, you know, he there was no judgment when they talked during his like second goetic order movement, but there was an awareness, and so I guess he he didn't know how bad it was, so I guess he wants to sort of like take a look and see.
You don't know how long they've been sitting here between like the last time she cleaned up and now. Um, it is a combination of standard size wine bottles and like standard size like 750 ml liquor bottles. Um, thing is, Mare doesn't know what's considered bad, but
I will say an empty bottle in and of itself
is a lot.
is a lot
Yeah.
of standard liquor
Yeah,
and
standard
wine.
Uh,
Your hands in
I
focus.
know, I know. It'll come back. You can do it. I have faith in you.
Every time I think of updating my camera, there you go.
There we go.
I think about that and I'm like, I would fuck it up so much.
um, there's more wine bottles than there are liquor bottles, but we'll say like 8 wine, 4 liquor.
It is always okay to ask for help, my beloved listeners. Um,
Yes, it is.
and there's always help available in various modicums, and I think we should definitely like do a thing for it. But yeah, I think Ray sort of takes notice, puts all the bottles up in like bags to take down, puts all the takeaway in like bags to take down, um and then works on like rolling up his sleeves and making another extra little charcuterie board with like cheeses and crackers. I think
There's some
he
stanky cheeses.
listen, stanky cheeses taste the best, all right. And I think Ray's nose is so used
The
to the
bog.
hollows that it probably the bog
hollows
or
the
the
bog.
hollows that he does. For him it's just like, ooh, what a nice smelling cheese.
Tasty.
Tasty.
Ooh,
um
yum.
and I think I think he does something like trying to like use some of the cheese as like a little bit of like holding to make like a tiny little like a tiny
Are you making
little almost
shark?
like a
Are you
little
making a
shark.
shark?
Yes, little cracker shark.
Beautiful, adorable. um, Adastrea does come out eventually, maybe like 20 minutes later. It looks like she has only put on her dress and done her hair, hasn't put on any makeup yet. But when she walks out, she is in this dress made out of literal butterflies, which are black and this very pretty blue color. So they just flutter around where a skirt would be, covering up where places that need to be covered to be decent.
Yeah.
So she is actually covered modestly with a high neck. Think very much Effie from the first Hunger Games movie, or the first or second Hunger Games movie, but like a long dress and blue and black.
I'm gonna look up that because I have actually never watched any of the Hunger
It's
Games things.
okay. Yes, it's pretty. I think it's pretty.
Oh, that's gorgeous. Yeah.
But it's long, not short.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
there's no sleeves, and her hair is half up, half down, and curled. You didn't need to clean up.
I think Ray's distracted for a minute when she says that. I think he like looks and there's like this gray flush that comes over his face and he blinks twice and he's just like, "I'm sorry, what?"
You didn't need to clean up.
"Oh,
You're my
there's
guest.
no, there's nothing. It took 5 minutes for me. Big hands. Nice to clear and make thing. Look,
Just
it's a shark."
thank you.
Yeah.
She will walk over and begin nibbling at the charcuterie board, reluctant to take a bite out of the shark.
I think when he notices that, like he does have like a little teasing grin. And he's like, "Listen, if you like it, we can make more for you. We'll just have like charcuterie and like
Shark-cuterie.
Shark-cuterie. Oh, I didn't even think about that." And like he gives this like big belly laugh. And he's like, "We could have Shark-cuterie and like books nights." It's not really a fancy party, but
Not everything needs to be fancy.
well, sometimes things look really nice when they're fancy. And he gives her like a tame wink.
She gives you like a really look, but takes another bite of the charcuterie board. Uh, so the party tonight is nothing special, to be quite honest.
Okay.
You don't need to pretend to know anyone, especially as a plus one. It's mostly people showing off their wealth and being a little pretentious, to be quite honest.
Okay.
I'm mostly there just to keep up appearances.
What appearances do you have to keep up?
I've been in the Marquis Quarter circle for since I got back. I think I was here before I left for Shadow, but um I think it's just nice. Can we change the subject? Because I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I
No,
didn't
it's okay. I didn't really think of it. It's just something I've been kind of doing since I've gotten back. It's a distraction.
I get that. Yours can be marquee parties, and mine is getting messy up to my elbows in clay.
Can I get you anything to drink? She says as she heads over to like there's like, the crossed wine shelves that
Hmm.
some places have. She takes down a bottle and holds out a glass, question mark.
Um, just some water.
Of course.
Yeah. Um, and not to be a hard question annoyance. Um, how's your have you been having a lot of people over for like little mixers?
She pauses, not even having taken like a drink of the wine glass yet, and doesn't say anything, not looking at you. I probably should have cleaned up before you got here.
I'm not trying to shame you or make you feel bad about anything.
It's a embarrassing topic. Let's put it that way. But I don't blame you for being curious.
I guess more
Concerned?
I think you're fantastic. And I see the joy that you do things with, and I am very happy to have met you. Um, but you looked so sad the other day, and I, I just know what that feels like.
Well, we can be sad together. How about that? But it's not so much sadness, but running.
You mentioned there was a fair amount of guilt.
She nods, and at this point, she does take a sip of her wine.
I think Ray walks over, um, just to get a glass from where she had taken one from
Yeah.
to fill with
Oh,
water.
sorry, the water. Um,
No, no. You invited me here. Yes, I'm your guest, but you're helping me out. You're helping me celebrate.
doesn't. There's sparkling water in the fridge if you want sparkling.
Okay, let me provide you with a straight line. What, what is the difference between sparkling water and regular water?
The
I've never.
carbonation.
Say what?
It's like. Have you had.
It's like soda water?
Yeah, yeah. It's similar.
I think he chuckles and he's like, fancy people water is just soda water.
Just a little extra fancy. Sometimes it's similar, I think, to like tonic water where they add minerals and stuff, but I'm gonna be quite honest, I don't think I learned the difference.
I I think Ray just chuckles again, and he's just like, you know, remembering shadows very hard, obviously. Uh,
For some people, yes, it's very hard, and for others, it's far too vivid. Let me put it that way.
Ray takes a note of that.
I have met more than one person who don't remember their lives before Shadow at all, and only remember their Shadow lives, and vice versa.
Oh, I I don't remember anything from before Shadow, and Shadow is still kind of fuzzy.
But
But I do remember that where I came from in Shadow, where I was in Shadow, was a lot like the Hollows. So I didn't, you know, sparkling water was sort of something that I never dreamed I would have. But I did have a lot of soda water. And so I guess it feels a little silly that something so woo, it's just bubble water.
I get that. I actually grew up in the South before moving, so. Well, what they would call the South in the America before the fake world, you know.
Yeah,
I didn't
I
lose the
was probably a
accents.
bit more south than you.
Probably, but I didn't lose the accent when I came back.
It's very
Surprise.
nice.
It's alright. I don't hate it.
It helps pick you out in the room for sure.
Not the wings.
I mean, there's a lot about you, but it's just wonderful and unique.
Now you're just trying to flatter me. Intentionally.
Maybe you need a little bit of that from someone who is sincere flatterer. Can you be a sincere flatterer? Can I give you sincere compliments? Like, I think Ray is chuckling as he takes flat water from the sink
Fair.
and
Fair.
starts sipping at it. And I think he takes part of the cracker shark and just sort of like nibbles on it himself.
You can if you like. Just don't embarrass me.
Never. What would embarrass you?
I ain't telling you that.
But then what if I break my promise?
You'll be
On
fine.
accident.
You'll be fine.
Okay,
You'll be
fine.
fine. She takes another sip of the glass before putting down. It's empty before putting down, but she does not refill it at this moment. You almost ready to get going?
Yeah.
Do you want makeup or your hair done? Haven won't do that at Glasshopper.
Never had my hair done, and last time I did makeup, it didn't end up well.
Well, I can assist there if you'd like, and I still need to do mine anyway.
Oh, I mean, if you're willing to assist, then yeah. I just don't know what looks good, how to apply it well, how to apply it correctly. Ray starts lifting things off.
I think simple would be better in your case, considering you wanted to go very flamboyant with the outfit.
I just thought about there's a movie I remember, and oh, I miss movies.
They still have some over here. You can get shadow items. Some people sell them.
Yeah, but
there is also a silent theater somewhere in Fartown.
I know, but it's not the same. You know, there was one that I always watched, always. And it was a scary movie.
Do you remember the title?
Jaws.
I shouldn't have asked. I should have known. Come on, let's go into my dressing room and we can get you put some makeup on.
All right. I think he chuckles and he's just like, I am surprised you didn't guess.
I don't think I really consider it a horror movie. That's probably why.
I mean, it legitimately caused like enough fear that people wouldn't go into the water.
But sharks aren't that scary.
Exactly.
They're great for the ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I know this is pre-recorded, everybody, but if you put !sharks in chat, it'll bring you to a lovely little website we have that protect the sharks.
Yeah, because sharks are good. Sharks are friends.
They're great for the oceans.
Yeah.
Protect sharks.
Yes. Ray definitely cheered for Jaws.
Good.
He was like, "You stupid humans open, keeping your beaches open when you shouldn't. Killing the wrong shark, baby."
um, she brings you into her. There's her room, and then there's like a side room where it's just basically a very large closet with a vanity mirror and makeup and
Mhm.
all that such. And she motions to the seat to have you sit down.
Yeah, Ray sits down. And just a reminder, I mean, I'm sure that the picture is like right up there. He has like like a short like faux hawk that I think it's gotten like a little bit longer over the couple months, but
Probably.
he keeps shaved he keeps everything else shaved. Um, and I think he sort of like brightens up at a look in the mirror and just sort of is just like, hmm, it's still me.
It's still you. Um, Simple might be best, just
Mm.
because with the makeup. I also don't think I have your skin tone for foundation.
I would be rather impressed if you did.
So we're just gonna do a little bit of eyeshadow, a little bit of eyeliner and mascara, and then she like waves her hands over your head to motion to your hair and get this presentable and what would work nice under a crown.
Sounds good.
And if you have any no objections, she begins to do so.
Yeah, I think like if she asks for like colors, I think whatever is like if she has anything like luminescent or like sort of like
Yes, I
um
see what you mean.
yeah.
A
Yeah.
nice little contrasting blue, which will glow a very nice bluish, like like bioluminescent, like
Yeah,
stuff in
that
the ocean.
whitish blue that like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, I know you're supposed to do hair first and then makeup, but she did your makeup first and then hair. But
There's only so much
there's
hair.
only so much
It's
hair.
fine.
It's fine. But she's about to like set your hair, like, with hairspray, and she's just like, give me a moment. I realized I just used all my hairspray when I was doing my hair. So I
Oh,
need to go get another bottle from the closet.
yeah.
I'll be back in a couple minutes.
Hmm?
And she leaves.
Minutes.
It'll be like a
I
minute.
think
It'll be like a minute or
yeah.
two.
No, but now he's imagining like an enormous like wall to wall closet with
You
like
don't
full
know
of
where
like
she keeps
different
her hairspray.
exactly. Yeah, I don't know.
My real question for you, Ray, when she leaves, do you snoop again?
Um, do I snoop as in do I like pick shit up? No. Is Ray gonna look all over this like room? Yes, obviously.
You're not gonna go like rummaging through drawers or anything.
No.
Okay. She has a lot of very nice dresses and blazers and other outfits you've seen her in plenty of times. Um, she definitely has a whole wall of shoes, heels, flats, so on and so forth, and actually a lot of surprisingly like super comfy clothes as well that you would just lounge around on all day in the house. Her little vanity station has makeup, hair supplies, but she also left her clutch, which is slightly open.
Oh, not slightly open. Hold on. I need a willpower roll.
I gotta just dangle the carrot in front of you.
A perfect 5, right in the middle. What does that even
I don't know.
mean?
What
Can we
does it
pull a
mean?
card? Can
You
we
want me to
pull a
pull a
card?
card? Okay, fine, sure. I can pull a card. Hold on. I'm gonna grab my actual like deck instead of my digital deck, which means I
Yeah.
need to open up the gate. I hate my camera tonight. It's really bad. Okay, so I have pulled the card Enveloping Darkness.
This is my listen. Val has a card that he hates. This card has been the bane of my existence.
Okay, so Enveloping Darkness card is a value of 5, mysteries, rats, mirrors, and stone, meanings, restrictions, loss, and endings. Do you want me to read the full thing, or is that enough?
No, I remember what this card
Okay,
does.
I had to at least
It's
ask.
not the universe is an absence of light because the dark was there for enveloping
You
darkness.
remember more than I do off the top of your head.
Because I've gotten it 3 times, Mare.
Okay,
Like 2 times when I was researching.
that's true. So what do you do when when this card has been drawn?
Um, I think he closes the clutch. I think he's like, "Be gone, temptation."
Okay, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. A minute or two later, she does come back and begins. Okay, sorry for the wait.
No, I'm just imagining that you have like a wall-length closet full of stuff.
No, not that much.
Okay, good, because that was a joke, and you nodded, and I was about to be like, "Oh."
No, just this closet. I have a lot of clothes.
A lot of them pretty close, yes.
She just gives you a look. Close your eyes.
Okay.
And then she just puts her hand above your eyes and begins spraying your hair down. And you are done.
All right.
I will need to ask you to move aside because I do need to do myself.
Understood. I can be an assistant if you like, though I'm sure you already know where everything is.
I can do it with my eyes closed. And she sits
That's
down.
impressive.
No, not really. I'm not that good. And she sits down and begins to doing her makeup. I also forgot to tell you some good news along with your advancement. I have chosen the folks that will be in the gallery.
Oh.
I would like you and 2 others to showcase some of your work.
Fantastic.
You and the other applicants had a very joyous outlook and take on shadow. And I think that positivity, especially where it's not expected, would do a lot of good for Visley, who might be coping with and struggling with what happened during the war.
Yeah. Thank you for this opportunity.
At some point, I would like you to meet the other two artists.
I'd love that.
Titania has agreed to be a resource for an advisor for anyone who might not have had their work shown in a gallery before. And my assistant Kay is also available for questions as well.
All right. I do have a bit of a thing going on now. But
Okay.
I'm definitely...
No, that's no problem. It's going to take some time to organize still. So,
All right.
And also some talking with the other artists and yourself to see if you want to do something completely new or build upon your showings that you've already showed me. I'm kind of leaning towards a middle ground because I was there when your showpiece turned into cranes.
Funny enough, I have a couple different showpieces now.
Good. That's good to hear. Um, but yes, as I was saying, seeing both yours and the other two artists take on shadow, which was otherwise difficult, brought a smile to my face.
I'm glad. And I think he just sort of like, I think he gets mesmerized by like how good she is at doing her makeup.
Her wings, her winged
Listen,
eyeliner, sharp as hell.
I will never what's it called? I will always admit that like I am a very easily distractible man, and there is nothing like so nice and distracting is watching your partner just skillfully put on makeup, and you're just like, huh,
I'm jealous.
yeah.
I can't do it. But yes, very
Get your
mesmerizing.
get your boy into makeup.
But yeah, she's not paying attention to you because she's paying
Yeah,
attention and trying not to stab her eye out with mascara.
fantastic.
And
Everyone should wear makeup, audience. It's fun. Do it for yourself.
do it for yourself. Exactly. It's enhancing. It makes you feel confident. It can make you
Yeah.
feel confident. Yes.
Mhm.
And doesn't take long before she stands up, looks at all of her stuff in her closet. I need to switch out my purse to match the outfit. Do you need to borrow anything? I don't know if Haven put pockets on anything. I'm assuming he
Oh,
did.
I'm hoping he did. I don't have much to carry. Um, and I think he sort of like pats down his pockets and he pulls out like again a very you know those like really like uh the paper wallets that people had that
Kind
like
of.
people had like a bunch of like paper wallets.
I don't know the paper wallets, but what's coming to my head is the duct tape wallets.
No, that's better. Oh, that's worse and better. No, yeah, that. It's like this awful like thing, and then like when he opens it, like a pile of like orbs seem like they're about to pop out, and he closes it again.
Uh, I would be very surprised if he did not put pockets anywhere. This dress has pockets. I just choose not to use them.
Got it.
Um,
I mean, it's pretty to like hold the thing, and then you can like power move, like hold on to this. And I think, hold on. Hold on to this. I think he tries to do it and like does a little gesture.
she laughs at that as she looks over her options and chooses something in a very contrasting gold before
Ooh.
she begins to unload her purse. You see some lipstick, you see a wallet, you see some, oh god, a granola bar. Also
Your
some
pocket painkillers, your
painkillers,
pocketbook painkillers.
checkbook. But one of the last things she takes out of her purse is actually a small stack of what looks like ripped newspapers.
This is a big clutch.
It's like if you tore out some like a portion of a newspaper, not like a full newspaper, but like you tore out like an article.
Like cuttings,
Yes,
but torn.
but full articles. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Would you like to take a glance to see what it says?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I don't think Ray's even thinking about it. Just like, what are those?
She stops, and she puts them down on the vanity table.
Okay.
Um, my guilt. She just stops fiddling with the papers, and for a second, you're not able to get like the full like headline or anything, but you can tell this is a ripping from a newspaper from Shadow. So this would make it like a Shadow memento.
I think he he walks over. He doesn't try to look more at the newspapers. I think he's looking at Estrella. And he sort of says, "So you're literally carrying your guilt around?"
She kind of fingers the paper. I didn't choose to. It just kind of came over with me. Did you choose what to bring over when you did a hop, skip, and jump from Grey to Indigo?
No, I think it would have made it easier if I did.
She doesn't meet your gaze. She's just looking down at the papers before she holds them out to you. She's not like forcing them to you, but she is offering them to you.
Um, I think he puts one hand under hers and one hand over and covering like both her hand and the papers. And he looks at her and he very seriously says, "You don't owe me anything. You know that, right?"
She nods.
And so if you want to put these away, that is totally okay. But if you want me to read these, then I would. Because I don't think anyone should have to carry stuff alone.
She nods. And she kind of like you're kind of like sandwiched her hand, but she's like,
Yeah, it's very
it.
it's not like a heavy, it's just like a very soft clasp to like allow her to like remove her hand or however she wants to do it.
She kind of like pushes them towards you a little bit.
And Ray takes them and he's just like, "Do you want to sit together outside?"
I think the fresh air in the balcony would be nice.
Sounds good. And I think he happily, I guess he feels very, I don't know if it's a universal experience, but when someone's vulnerable with you and you sort of cherish and respect that, right? In that moment of like knowing that you are being trusted with something and that sort of warmth that fills you, that's how Ray feels right now. And he's trying to be very respectful of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, as they walk out to the balcony, if there's anywhere to sit,
Yeah,
uh
there's like a couple like cushion chairs looking over the marquee quarter.
mhm. I think he comments on the view. He sits down and he looks at the articles.
There are two clippings.
Mhm.
The first one is an obituary for an individual by the name of Brady Zafra. The second one is an article with a variety of photos detailing an accident where this young person named Brady was out biking one morning and he was hit by a car. The individual's name is crossed out in black, but she was charged with vehicular manslaughter. And there are also a couple photos just of Brady and like family and friends. And one of these photos is of Brady and another individual who is very familiar. It is of a person who looks very similar to Aspen, wearing but completely opposite. Instead of the very fancy hat and clothes, ostentatious, simple t-shirt, jeans, smiling and hanging with their friend Brady.
I think Ray sort of like very gently, when he's done, folds things away and looks at Astrea. And Mira, is there no, I think what Ray does in this moment is just sort of um it must be so hard to carry this around.
I have tried to get rid of it, but I can't. I'm sorry for ruining your day.
Hey, is your day ruined?
Would you lecture me if I said it's not better nor worse than any other day? And actually kind of a little better because I'm happy for you?
I'm not really a lecturer, no.
You do not seem like that type either.
No, this face, these feelings are care. You are my friend. I know for a lot of people that means a lot of different things. But no, I see you. And I see someone brilliant and fascinating and in pain. And wondering. I see a lot of you. You are someone who has many things. And you're not only the sad parts of your life.
Thank you, Ray. It's hard to believe, but it is a nice reminder. And you are a very, very good friend. I'm glad I got to meet you.
I'm glad too. And I think Ray sort of like opens up an arm, because I'm picturing that they're like sort of like almost like side by side viewing, so that like so they didn't have to look at each other while they were reading, but now there's like a, it's very cinematic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think like he turns a little bit and he offers like a big arm. And he's like, would you like a hug?
Yes, I very much would.
And he gives a firm hug that's careful not to mess up her hair.
Kind of noticing that care, she takes a pause. Do you still want to go to that party?
Do you?
I asked you first.
Well, sorry. My answer is I'd like to spend this day with you. So if you want to go to the party where we can like show off and I don't know, maybe I can um convince people that investing in the hollows is the new hip trend thing to do and then see who tries to outdo the other person because I feel like that's something that could happen at one of these parties. Then we could do that. Or if you want to just stay here, I could get food and then I could cook you a dish, well, something close, so we don't really have the exact thing, something close to something I know how to make in shadow. And we could have glass bottle soda, not just soda water. And
Like Coke from an actual Coke bottle.
yes, I was thinking something like Fanta.
I think that I don't want to go to the party.
All right.
But you should go pick out your outfit. Pick up your outfit.
Oh, for sure.
Sometimes just lounging around in fancy clothes in your own home is just as invigorating.
Yeah. Plus, I can flap around on the balcony. It'll be great.
Let's go pick up your outfit before Glasshopper closes, and then we can go shopping for food.
Yes, shopping in fancy clothes for food. It'll be amazing.
She nods, smiles, and then gently stands up so not to like mess up the butterflies from when she gets out of your arm, and then holds out an arm.
Which Ray very gracefully takes, and again in his like bad, like just joking faux southern accent is just like, oh, thank you, darling.
Let's go. And right?
Yes,
Thank you.
anytime. Sincerely. I've had a lot more time than I realized lately.
And the two of you go pick up your outfit, go shopping in fancy clothes, and you make her a nice dinner.
I make ropa vieja.
What is that? Tell me. I want to know what it is.
Oh, ropa vieja is like, it's skirt steak, sliced really thin, and then cooked in like a dark beef broth. So it's like very like it's like very fall off, like very tender meat.
I need
And
it.
then a lot of people make it different in Ecuador. We make it with like rice, potatoes, peppers, and you sort of pour the broth over. And so like it's like very like juicy, like meat and rice.
Sounds so good.
It is so good. And it actually means old clothes. Because the meat gets so stringy, it looks like not stringy, like so tender and like thin that it looks like old like old wash.
That's so funny. But I think that's a good place to end it.
Oh yeah. Thank you so much, Mare.
Thank
this
you.
is so
This
wonderful.
is great.
Yeah.
Would you like to introduce yourself, say where we can find you, and all that fun jazz?
Of course. My name is Victor. I use they, them, and sometimes he, him pronouns. We're figuring that out. You can find me on Twitter at VillainVicencio, and on Twitch as I start my Legend of Zelda Tears of the
Oh my
Kingdom.
god, it's so
Play
good.
along.
It's so good.
I'm gonna have other guests who don't know anything about Zelda commenting on how I play. It's gonna be great.
Can't wait.
I'm
I
very
can't
bad at
wait.
puzzles, so this is gonna be very funny.
Have fun. Good luck.
Yes.
Have you
Oh
played the
yeah, for
first
sure.
game?
Oh yes.
Okay, good.
Mhm.
Okay, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
I have brute forced my way through the first game. I'll say that. I am a
Perfect.
completionist, which is very hard when you're bad at the game.
Did you get all 900 seats?
Yes.
What the fuck?
The
No, I
only
can't
thing I
do it.
couldn't do was finish the trials
That's fair.
because I'm very bad at the game. Like with the Koroks, all I have to do is climb hard enough. You know?
I am not a completionist. I look in awe at all you completionists out there and ask myself, how the fuck?
When you have a hyperfixation, sometimes you just go brr, and then it's 8 hours later,
That's
and it's
fair.
3 o'clock in the morning.
That's
You
fair.
have messed up.
All right. Anything else that we should know about where you're in?
Oh, you can catch me on Wednesdays at Miss Loss on the Mandy's channel, where we play Dungeons and Dragons in a homebrew setting. I play Sinark, the Tabaxi rogue, who is a lot more smooth than Ray is, but just as sweet.
I love tabaxis. They're so good.
Yeah, he's a Black Panther,
I love them.
a Black Jaguar, not
I
a Black
love him.
Panther. Whoops,
I love him.
he's very good.
But hi, I'm Mary. You can find me on Twitter at Archmage of Dice. You can find me here for actually, I don't know how long you can find me here on Fraying Threads because I don't know when this episode is releasing, so who knows. But on Sword and Key on Saturday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern, you can find me playing Acacia, the Soul Knife Rogue Stars Druid in a nautical campaign. And on Sundays at 6 p.m. Eastern, you can find me over on Neon Lights Role Playing, running a game of Printweaver called Pillars of Ink. It is very intense and very tragic and sad and emotional. It's great. Keep an eye out on the channel. What?
So if you love tonight,
Yes. Crank it up to like 12.
Perfect.
Just a lot more like physical pain as well as emotional.
Oh,
It's both. The system's based on Souls-like games. So
love it.
But yes, please keep an eye on the channel for all of our other projects. I'm pretty sure by the time this comes out, Triangle Agency and Vast Grill will be starting to air. That is some horror games that are being run on the channel, so keep an eye out on all of that. And we will see you soon. Bye.
Bye.